Welcome to the weekly wrap only on KENS 5 Plus. I'm your host, Audrey Gasolina. Let's get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the week. At number 5 in our countdown, the results are in for the Texas primary. The race for Bexar County judge was between current judge Peter Sakai and former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. Nirenberg was declared the winner with more than 62% of the vote. After 8 years leading the city, Nirenberg says he's ready to bring that experience to Commissioner's Court with big plans to tackle what he calls a fractured criminal justice system, from clearing the DA's case backlog to creating a jail diversion program for low-level offenders struggling with mental health.
We didn't just win a primary. We committed to fixing a broken justice system. We resolved that everyone should have access to quality health care, regardless of their zip code. And we agreed that no one should have to choose between a roof over their head and food on the table. We've come a long way, but our job is definitely not done.
Nirenberg now turns his focus to November, where he'll face Republican Patrick Von Dolan. He tells KENS 5 he plans to work alongside County Judge Peter Sakai in the months ahead and says he's looking forward to collaborating with City Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones if elected. And at number 4 in our countdown, a court is ordering Camp Mystic to not change part of their campus. The family of Seal Stewart, one of the 27 campers and counselors killed at Camp Mystic during the July 4th flooding, filed a lawsuit and asked for a temporary restraining order to stop construction at Camp Mystic. The judge says the camp needs to stop construction and make changes to the Guadalupe campus, where the worst of the flooding happened. That campus is closed indefinitely. The family also wanted to block Camp Mystic from reopening its other campus at Cypress Lake, but the judge declined to rule in favor of that request. At number 3 in our countdown, a major legal case in the music industry is underway in New York, and the Justice Department is suing Live Nation, claiming it's a monopoly that uses its dominance to hurt competition and increase ticket prices. Live Nation, which merged with Ticketmaster in 2010, denies those claims. If the Justice Department wins its case, it could ask a judge to split up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The trial is expected to last at least a month. Turning to health news, while the peak of this year's flu season is now past us, a lot of folks may be letting their guard down. But as Jeremy Baker reports, flu B can hang on for months. So keeping treatments in mind in case you get a late season surprise should be top of mind.
Those flu antivirals are a must even this late in the season because they reduce the severity, length, and complications of the flu, especially in high-risk groups. They not only shorten the illness, but also decrease the risk of complications like pneumonia, hospitalization, and it reduces the spread too.
If you have symptoms of the flu, it's really important to, stay hydrated, treat the symptoms, stay comfortable, but also, seek care when you feel like you need help.
The CDC says flu season typically runs from October through May. The peak of the season typically occurs in January and February, but influenza B doesn't often appear until March or closer to spring break. If you do end up with the flu and you can't get to a doctor, you could be prescribed antivirals through telemedicine, and you don't even have to leave your home.
If you can see your doctor virtually, and if they're confident enough about the diagnosis and they prescribe it for you, then Xofluza.com is a way that you can have it delivered to your home.
The CDC says in the 2024-2025 flu season, 85% of hospitalized patients received antivirals. 3 out of 4 of those were high-risk children, and they also say antiviral use is underutilized in kids, with less than 4 out of every 10 receiving them. And with a flu season that has been worse than normal, flu vaccines cannot be stressed enough.
It can take the vaccine up to 2 weeks to have your full protection, but if you have not had your flu vaccine yet, come on in for that.
Vaccinations remain the first line of defense against the flu.
For more information about the flu and life-saving antivirals, head to this story on KENS5.com. In the studio, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
Stick with us. The weekly wrap is back after this.
Go ahead. Take a look at the faces of San Antonio Zone. When you look into their eyes, you see passion, you see hard work, you see familia. Generations of people who embody a rich culture of respect, honor, and originality. We're all in San Antonio, but more importantly, San Antonio is in us. It's what makes us special. It's why we're proud to be San Antonio's own.
A broken vehicle fixed after 5 months of no help.
KENS 5 made it 100% better.
A busted windshield fixed after getting the runaround from a contractor.
And you guys did it. Y'all were amazing.
A much-needed tax refund this man couldn't access. Yep, fixed.
KENS 5 actually helped me out quite a lot, actually.
Have a consumer problem you can't solve? Call KENS. Weekdays at 6 on KENS 5.
Got a problem, call KENS. They will solve the problem.
My name is Sue Kalberg, and I am a journalist for KENS 5 for 22 years. I think it's been an awesome privilege to be able to work in the town that I grew up in. My uncle, Rex Stanley, was the very first guy hired at KENS 5. From the beginning, I said, you can get paid for that? Let me in. It fills my heart to be a part of the KENS family, because the KENS family is the San Antonio family. I am San Antonio's own Sue Kalberg.
We want to get you breaking news right now.
Here, let me show you the police activity. New insight into a deadly police shooting.
We just got an update from fire officials. We'll continue to keep you updated.
Stream extended coverage, live or on demand, right here on KENS 5+.
Welcome back. At number 2 in our countdown, UT students are remembering the victims of this weekend's mass shooting on West 6th Street. A gunman shot and killed 3 people and injured 13 others early Sunday morning. Police say the gunman drove around the block several times before pulling up in front of Buford's, rolling down the window and firing multiple shots into a bar. Investigators say he then got out and continued firing until police officers killed him during an exchange of gunfire. Police and the FBI are still investigating for a motive. A towing company took a local tenant's vehicle from his apartment complex despite the fact that he had a parking permit. And get this, the company still wanted that man to pay hundreds of dollars to get it back. Well, he called KENS, and Andrew Moore explains how he was able to get the vehicle back for free.
James Likes moved into his new apartment complex a few weekends ago, and he put a parking sticker on his vehicle. But Parking Solutions of San Antonio didn't see the sticker, and they towed him anyway. A few days later, the company was still trying to force James to pay hundreds of dollars to get the vehicle back, but after KENS 5 got involved, that changed.
Came over here in the daytime. They still want money, license, registration.
Parking Solutions of San Antonio towed James Likes' Cadillac at night and took it to their lot. Likes had a parking pass on the windshield, and if you look at the windshield, you can see that the sticker is there, but it is partially obscured by tint. Likes went to the lot thinking it was a mistake and they would release the car. They didn't.
They just told me to go pay it.
But Likes says he had not broken any rules, so he should not have to pay.
And I just left, and then I called you.
Instead, he called KENS. KENS 5 came to the property the next day, and Likes called the company again. On the phone, Parking Solutions of San Antonio still told him the vehicle was towed because there was no parking permit, even though there was a parking permit right there on the car. They also still told him it would cost more than $360 to get it out. KENS 5 then contacted the company directly and told them we were doing a story. Less than 2 hours later, a public relations rep called us back and said they were working towards a resolution with Likes. Less than 2 hours after that, the company told Likes he could pick up the vehicle for free.
She said just give her a heads up so she'll make sure everything's running smoothly or whatever.
A PR representative sent us a statement the next day that said, in part, the tow was conducted in compliance with the applicable private property contract, and an internal review was conducted by VSF management and a conflict resolution representative. The matter was amicably resolved. Likes says this tow still should not have happened in the first place.
That's what the parking permit's for.
And he says it only got resolved after he called KENS 5.
Without you, I'll probably still be sitting here saying I'm not going to pay.
And while this company was eventually willing to work this out, other companies may still try to take your money even if they made a mistake. In that case, you need to take the company to tow court. You can do that by going to any justice of the peace in San Antonio, but you only have 14 days to do so from the time when you were towed. For Call KENS, Andrew Moore, KENS 5.
Glad he was able to get a resolution. All right, stick with us. A weekly wrap is back after this.
Go ahead. Take a look at the faces of San Antonio's own. When you look into their eyes, you see passion, you see hard work, you see familia. Generations of people who embody a rich culture of respect, honor, and originality. We're all in San Antonio, but more importantly, San Antonio is in us. It's what makes us special. It's why we're proud to be San Antonio's own.
Talked to this police officer, and she told me to call Ken 5.
Every week, KENS 5 is looking out for San Antonio's own.
The next day after you left, they sent a professional AC guy, and my AC's working now.
If you've been wronged by someone,
it was shocking. Clearly something went wrong.
Or a business,
I couldn't believe it was happening.
Just call KENS. Weekdays at 6, only on KENS 5.
I got my vehicle back. I'm rolling again, so call KENS 5 to help you if you need help too.
Born and raised on the northwest side of San Antonio, Texas. Generations of my family have been from this part of Texas. I have Fiesta roots, I have Spurs roots, I have Texas Fighter roots. Played basketball at Clark. Basketball was a huge part of my life for 16 years. My comfort dish, the plate of chilaquiles with salsa verde. I grew up watching KENS 5. I am who I am because of this beautiful city. I hope that they can find a sense of pride knowing that their creation is helping deliver them the most important news of the day. I'm Alicia Nieves, and I'm proud to be from this beautiful city.
If you want a meal that will make you say,
so good!
That is fantastic.
Catch Neighborhood Eats, where we find the best local restaurants. Streaming now on KENS 5 Plus.
Welcome back. You know, a lot of Texans wait all year for bluebonnet season, especially for those classic photos of the kids or pets. But this year, some blooms are showing up a little bit earlier. KENS 5's Roxy Van Rooten explains why.
Along Texas highways, parks, and open fields, the first signs of bluebonnet season are starting to appear, but for many people, it still feels a little early. The reason? A winter that has felt more like spring. Experts say bluebonnets respond less to calendar and more to what's happening in the soil.
So it's the high and low temperatures. We're probably not going to see a very significant big stands of them because of the drought.
These flowers actually begin their life cycle months before we see them. The seeds germinate in the fall, then spend the winter close to the ground as small rosette plants, waiting for the right conditions to bloom.
They germinate basically in the fall, September through November. Then they overwinter as a tight little rosette plant.
But while warm temperatures may be speeding things up, South Central Texas has been dealing with dry conditions for months now, and that lack of rain could mean fewer large fields of bluebonnets.
The native stands are not going to be as prolific as mass as we've possibly seen in the past.
Experts say even in a dry year, Texas state flowers still has a way of showing up. So while this year's blooms may be a little early and may not be as widespread, experts say there's still time for the season to change, especially if we get some much needed rain. Roxy Van Rooten, KENS 5.
Good to know. All right, and rounding out our countdown at number 1, Iran is warning that the U.S. will bitterly regret sinking one of its warships as the conflict in the Middle East shows no signs of letting up. The U.S. says it is accelerating strikes on Iran. The Defense Department released footage of the U.S. submarine torpedo strike that sank an Iranian warship near Sri Lanka, killing dozens. Wednesday, the Senate rejected a war powers resolution that would have required the Trump administration to get congressional approval to continue military operations in Iran. Of course, we'll continue to follow that story. But thanks for joining us for this week's episode of the Weekly Wrap, only on KENS 5 Plus. Be sure to join us next week for all your other headlines. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.